Hello guys, and welcome to another discussion video, and my friendship with Paper Mario has ended. Bug Fables is my new best friend, though I still like the older Paper Mario games. Bug Fables is amazing, and it really holds up very well to the older Paper Mario games. So, if you haven't played Bug Fables yet, and if you're a fan of 64, TTYD, and even Super Paper Mario, I suggest playing Bug Fables and not Paper Mario the Origami King. Though, if you can get past the battle system, Origami King is still a pretty fun game in my opinion, with some good elements, but Bug Fables is way better. I know it has some negative stigma behind it, with like some of the more toxic classic Paper Mario fans just like pushing this game like crazy over Origami King. But don't pay attention to those fans and everything like that. Just enjoy Bug Fables and don't really feel like you're pressured to play it or anything like that. Just like, this game is amazing, and I really don't like how it's being used with like negativity and stuff like that, with the arguments in the Paper Mario community. This game is just existing to kind of fill the void of like a classic style Paper Mario game. And it does a very good job at that. And I'd even say this game is better than Paper Mario 64, and I'm only on Chapter 2. I wouldn't say it's better than TTYD, since that game is amazing, and I feel like it has, like, it does some things better than Bug Fables, but Bug Fables actually fixed a lot of issues from the older Paper Mario games, and actually has a lot of interesting features on its own. And I really think that this game could maybe inspire some of the newer Paper Mario games after Origami King if we happen to go back to a like TTYD 64 style system, which I hope will happen eventually. Like, I know a lot of people are pessimistic and say that it will never happen, but I mean, like, it's gonna happen eventually. I mean, they usually have a return to form, like with Super Mario Odyssey. Like, a lot of people didn't think we were ever gonna go back to a sandbox 3D Mario, but we did. And it's just gonna happen eventually. So, the first thing that this game does really well is with its battle system, and it's very similar to the one in 64 in the Thousand Year Door. The Thousand Year Door had a lot of different elements and stuff like that that was specific to that game, so I guess it's best to compare it to Paper Mario 64, since it's a little simpler, but it does have some interesting features on its own. And the action commands actually work really well, and I'd say they're as good as TTYD. In some cases they're even harder, like Leaf's action commands are actually pretty hard to pull off, since they're pretty similar to Vivian's, since you have to press a certain button, but I think you have to do it at a faster rate, or at a faster time, so it's a little harder to pull off that one, but it does a lot of damage. And I really think it's interesting that they actually incorporated 3 party members, rather than 2, which provides a more interesting battle system, since you have to manage these 3 partners with like items, attacks, and stuff like that, and then you could use the turn replay feature to see like who needs to attack when and who can do more attacks. And your damage does decrease, or the damage that you put on an enemy, it does decrease if you use a certain like party member for so long, and like the ones in the back usually get a more defense advantage than the ones in the front, which is very interesting. And the different characters in the game, there are only 3 you could actually play as, or with your party members and everything like that, but they are very interesting, and they have a lot of character development, which I'll go into later, with V, Kaboo, and Leaf. And their attacks are really interesting. They even have overworld abilities, like V's boomerang, Kaboo's thing where you could use his horn, and then Leaf's ice ability, which is really fun to use, and they kind of have their own versions of that in battle. And they also have their own version of flower points too. I forgot what it was called, but it works very similar to that, though I do think it can run out faster. And then with the HP system, like, it works a little differently. I wish they were like solid numbers, like 5, 10, stuff like that, but it's in increments of 1s, which I guess for the balancing of this game, it kind of makes sense, but I'd rather have it as like a solid number. It kind of looks weird when it has stuff like that. That's one of the minor problems I have with the game, but if it works in the context of this game, I think that they should just keep it. But, like, I actually initially just got scared away from the aspect of 3 party members, because I don't really, like, I used to think that that wouldn't really work and it wouldn't be like the older games, but it works excellently, and I really hope that, like, a Paper Mario game in the future actually incorporates something with 3 party members. Origami King actually has kind of something similar to that. Like, you could actually have 3 party members in that game. They actually have a system where you could set that up, but it's only in small portions of the game where you have to do certain missions and stuff like that. Like, take the different characters over to this certain area and stuff like that, and you can only hold on to them for a little bit. And technically the idea of Mario, Olivia, and Bobby being together is technically kind of like a 3-member thing. So I guess Origami King kind of has like a feeling of 3 party members, but I'm hoping that they really incorporate that in some kind of Paper Mario game in the future. So next up is the badge system. The badge system works really well, and it's very similar to the one in TTYD and 64, and some of them have different elements. Like, I kind of like how, like, some of them can decrease your stats, or some of them can only work if you have a certain status effect, or it could even, like, increase your defense if you're a certain party member, like if you're in the back or something like that, or in the front. And I think that's really interesting. And, like, it even has a hard mode badge where you could, like, use it and you can get more EXP. I haven't collected many badges yet since I'm only on Chapter 3, since I just finished Chapter 2. But the badges so far just work really well, and it's really interesting. So next up, we're going to talk about story elements. And I feel like the characters in this game have slightly more development than the partners in Paper Mario, except maybe like Vivian, Bobbery, or especially Tippy in Super Paper Mario. But the characters that you have with you, you can't change them, and they always stick with you, so they have more room to develop throughout the story, and you can always have these interactions with them like you're a team, kind of. That only happened a couple times in TTYD, but when they happened, they were great, and this happens all the time in Bug Fables, so I'm really enjoying that. Like, certain moments where they're all talking together, and it's really interesting. And the world is also built up, and it's really interesting since it has its own lore for itself, since it's completely new, and it's kind of, like, the scale of it is really interesting, and you get to meet all of these different types of bugs, and there's different conflicts and even politics going on with different characters in the game, and it's really interesting to just see how the different areas and characters interact, and like the relationships between different characters and NPCs and stuff like that. And I'm really enjoying it, but I don't know too much of it so far since I'm only a little bit into the game, but it's starting to show, especially in like Chapter 2, and I'm really enjoying this so far, as I said like a million times. And if you're a fan of classic Paper Mario, the first 3 Paper Mario games, you would really enjoy this, even if you haven't played them. Like, any fan of, like, RPGs and stuff like that, even if you enjoyed Origami King, you might even like this game better. And, like, even the Mario and Luigi games, since it has some aspects from those games, especially kind of like Paper Jam a little bit, since you have 3 party members with you, I guess that's a pretty, like, good comparison with 3 party members and stuff like that, since you can use Mario, Luigi, and Paper Mario in that game. The battle system in that game was good, but I just felt like the story and everything was kind of generic. But I guess they took a little bit of inspiration from Paper Jam, because it uses 3 party members and everything. So I think that's pretty cool. And anyways, yeah, this is a great game, and I definitely think it's better than modern Paper Mario, and I suggest that you try it out if you like RPGs and stuff like that. So anyways, thank you guys for watching this video. Make sure to leave a like and subscribe for more, and make sure to check out my Discord server and Twitter if you want to. Goodbye.